You've likely heard this question, this conspiracy theory, this lie that's been raised about paid protesters. That all of these people you see in LA and Dallas and Philly and all across the country, Orange County, California, right here in Washington, D.C., that they must be paid by some outside force, paying them to be agitators, paying them to be insurrectionists, paying them to be criminals. And what is inside of that idea is that people would have to be paid to care about this issue, to care about protecting people in their communities who have done nothing wrong but try to make a better life for themselves. That's what's implicit in that statement, in that accusation that people are being paid. Karoline Leavitt was asked this question yesterday, and I want you to pay attention, as I always do, to the actual question that is asked versus the answer that is given. In this case, I'm gonna read you the question so it's in your mind before you hear the reporter say it. The reporter gives a little bit of a preamble and then asks this question. Does the White House have any more details about who they believe is paying these people? That's the question. You're saying that these protesters are paid. Do you have any more information we can have to report to the American people on who is paying? You will not be shocked that there was not a sufficient answer given.
Thanks, Karoline. The president said yesterday that paid insurrectionists were behind or involved in the protests in Los Angeles. Does the White House have any more details about who they believe is paying these protesters?
The president spoke about this last night when he returned from Fort Bragg, because frankly the president has a lot of common sense. And if you look at some of the imagery that we have received from the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and law enforcement who are on the ground, you will see boxes and boxes of very professionalized masks and rioting equipment being dropped off for these protesters. So it's a good question the president is raising, and one we are looking into, about who is funding these insurrectionists and these rioters and these protesters and these illegal criminals. And I have updates for you on the numbers, by the way. Since June 6th, there have been 330 illegal aliens that have been arrested as part of these riots in Los Angeles. 113 of those illegal aliens had prior criminal convictions. And overall, and this includes arrests of American citizens, there's been 157 people arrested for assault and obstruction-related charges, including the attempted murder of a police officer with a Molotov cocktail. So who is funding these illegal aliens who are coming in with this very professional riot gear? It's a question everyone in this room who cares about truth should be asking. And we encourage your help in trying to get to the bottom of that question.
The question, do you have any more information about the who's paying these people? Her first word is yeah. Yeah, the president, and then blah, blah, blah. Frankly, the president has a lot of common sense. The dear leader is super smart. He knows all kinds of stuff, says Karoline Leavitt. Nobody asked about Donald Trump's common sense, dummy. That wasn't a question. What evidence do you have about the charge that Donald Trump is making that these people are paid? She says, well, you'll see boxes and boxes of very, very professionalized masks and rioting equipment. You know, I was going to do this before. Maybe I should go on to Amazon.com and search for professionalized masks and rioting equipment and then have it shipped to the protesters. You're seeing this all over the web, by the way. James Wood, the disgraced dipshit actor, he's out there sharing like pallets of bricks as though those were in LA when the picture was like from Florida or New Jersey or something. I mean, they have to lie to back the conspiracy theory that they're telling. These people aren't protesting because they're paid. They're protesting to protect members of their community, to stand against tyranny, to exercise their right to free speech and to peaceably assemble in the pursuit of a redress of their grievances against their government. The First Amendment. What else did she say here? I got my notes in red today, huh? These updates weren't about paid protesters. When she goes into the rambling about numbers of how many arrests, that's not in an answer to a question about paid protesters. That's just how many arrests were effectuated by the police. That's not evidence of the claim that they're paid. She also asks the question here. She asks the question, so who is funding these illegal aliens who are coming into this very professional riot gear? She's asking the question, presupposing what the answer is. You can't just say, yeah, they're paid, and who's paying them? Or you can't just say, yeah, they're paid, and who's funding the illegal blah, 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 blah. You have to establish that they are being paid, that they are being funded before you demand the answer. And then, of course, beautiful that the spokesperson for the White House, the spokesperson for the President of the United States, the propagandist for Donald Trump says at the end there that why don't you guys do the hard work? Why don't you do the heavy lifting and investigate this for us? You guys find out the answers that I act like I just gave you but didn't give you. Why would there be a need for an investigation if you just gave us the answer to the question, Karoline Leavitt? And also, further, maybe more importantly, don't you have access to the counter intel office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the investigatory strength and weight and power of the Department of Justice? Why would you need reporters to go sleuthing around when you have the weight and might of the United States government, a virtually limitless pool of resources to find out? The reason is because you're lying. There are no paid protesters. Disgraceful. Authoritarianism. Fascism. Luckily, they're still holding briefings. And good on this reporter for asking the question. This is the way to frame the question that doesn't come across as aggressive. I think we need more aggressive questions, but that's just me. If you're going to do it this way. We're like, oh, you're saying that there's a lot of paid protesters. Awesome. We'll believe it on its face. What's the information that you can give us so we can chase down those leads? I think that's a decent way to do it. What do you think, though? I'd love to know. You can leave a comment below in support or defiance of my opinions. All that is welcome. I would appreciate it. You can also call the voicemail line and tell me how much you hate me or, how much you agree. 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Consider supporting the work. I would appreciate that very much. You can become a channel member for $2 a month right here. Click the join button below, wherever that is. You can also go to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast, or you can go to dollemore.com and help support the work there by purchasing a sticker or a mug. Not a mug shop, but like a coffee mug. I don't have one here. My coffee's in this. Maybe I should have logos on a Yeti. Would anybody like that? What am I going to do? A poll here? Anyway, all the support goes a long way. Make sure you're subscribed. I love and appreciate you. I'll quit rambling. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.